Most of the skills, guys, are quite understandable. For example, we know that Lightning is elemental skill and deals 30% damage of your base attack. But how about skills like Angel? Do we know what it actually does? From the skill description we know that for the first 6 rounds you gain a protection of Angel. But what kind of protection? Is it increasing your health, healing you, or giving you a shield? After spending a lot of time, guys, checking the skills, I finally can answer this question and explain to you all the skills, what they do. Also special for this video, I made these lists that in good quality you can download from my or official Discord server. The links are in the description and comments to this video. In the game, guys, we have 3 kinds of the skills. The first are common. Most of them can be evolved, you can see a frame. But some of the common skills cannot be evolved. And besides, we have a few skills that no longer exist in game, but we used to have them. We used to have the Sky Sword, now instead we have the Spear. The next kind of the skills are legendary. To make some of them you will need common. For example, Shark Discharge, it reduces enemy's rage by 50 upon triggering lightnings, 9 or 7. So obviously to get it you need lightning skills. The next kind of the skills are mythic, none of them can be evolved. Here we have the same situation as with legendary skills. To make some of them, for example, super lightning or super sorchi, you need common skills. In our case, any lightning and sorchi skills. 2 of the mythic skills we used to have in game. The first one is Flame Giant Sword. Sky Swords became giant swords doing double damage and taking flame. Later, as I told you, instead of swords we got spears. It was doing the same damage, had the same effect. But with the latest update the magic spear was nerfed, got a different name and became legendary. It's still taking the flame, but the spear is doing lower damage. Instead of the magic spear we got a new skill called Demonic Spear. As for me, the skill is okay if your health is high. In the game we also have 2 skills that are not actually mythic, but I decided to add them to mythic skills. We have Angel and Demon skills that you can get from Large Fortune. You can get only one of them and you should be lucky, because within 5 spins you should get or 3 Angels or 3 Demons, otherwise you'll get nothing. Okay guys, let's start with the Angel skill and let me explain to you what it actually does. For the first 6 rounds you'll have an Angel, and no, it's not giving you a shield. Angel during attacks can trigger Holy Light. So here you can see the Holy Light, it deals 100% damage of your base attack. And besides, it heals 10% of your health. And that's actually all what it does. I don't know why they call it protection. By the way, the same effect we have in Angel Bow if you check Rage skill. But in this case we have Angel Dagger that triggers Holy Light and restoring health. The next skill, Spawn of Evil, you can get in the same way as Angel. But instead of gaining protection for the first 6 rounds, you gain it when your health goes below 50%. So when it goes below 50, Capybara becomes a demon. And during base attacks, combos and counterattacks, it will release some demon energy, I don't know how to call it. That's how it looks in game. It deals 100% damage of your base attack. So demon will be really good for people that use combo or counter build. While Angel, I would say, is more for the skill build. The next 2 skills are probably the best in the game, however Battle-Hardened with the time becomes useless, because damage reduction has a cap and once you will reach it, then such skills will become useless. Combo Dagger can be super good if you have a lot of daggers, especially with the Angel Bow. It literally doubles the amount of daggers. For example, if you throw 5, then you throw 10. Add to the skill these 2 and believe me, you will have a very powerful combination. The Trinity Force is okay to choose, but better with combo and counter builds. Unfortunately we cannot know exact increasing rate, it's almost impossible to check. Super Bolt and Super Sword Chi doubles damage of the bolts and Sword Chi. I'm not sure about Super Sorchi, but Super Bolt can be pretty good because we have many lightning skills. For example, Thunderbolt Plus after round 5 releases 5 lightnings per round. Only these two skills is already a good combination. Revival skill is more situational skill because you don't always die. If you will not die, then this skill will be useless. Honestly speaking, I focus more on healing. From my experience, I can say that it helps more. For example, if you have many daggers and one of them is healing dagger, then between combo dagger and revive I would choose combo dagger. Rage combo will be perfect if you have again daggers but with rage dagger. However, daggers may not be needed with the rage mastery. I don't know guys if you know, but burning and poison are capped. You can have up to 5 stacks. For example, let's take poison. Amount of stacks you can see below rage and health bars. You can see that it cannot exceed 5, but for burning it's possible if you choose Pyromancer skill. Also good news that it reduces damage not for all the skills, but only for burning. However, the damage reduction is not small, it's 25%, so be careful when you choose it. The next skill, Demonic Spear, as me is interesting because it deals counter damage of 5% of your maximum health. So in the game you'll see 2 damages. The counter damage of course will be lower. From what I played, it's usually around 20% of your base attack. So if you don't have a few spears, I would choose something better. The next skill I highly recommend you not to choose because the first reason, there's a cap for damage reduction, and the second reason that the damage you're doing will be lowered too much. The Heat Explosion skill is okay to choose, definitely will help you. But as you understand, you need skills that cause burning. Golden Egg is not like you can normally choose, you can get it only from Nest. But you should be lucky to get it because sometimes you can fight a bird. In any case, it's worth to try. Firecracker can stun enemies, so for 1 round they will not attack you. It's a good skill for early game, but unfortunately not for the late game. The first reason that the damage it's doing is not high, but the main reason that in the late game most enemies are immune to control skills. Deadly Spikes will increase the chance of freezing for icy spikes. From my experience, it's definitely worth to take it, especially if you have Frozen Touch. But in the late game, as I said, most enemies are immune to control skills. So in the late game I would focus more on health, protection and increasing damage. Counter Soul is always good to choose, unless you have anything better to choose. The same I can say about the next skill, Combo Spirit. While Glass Cannon I only recommend you to choose if you don't have problems with surviving. In the game we have few skills that you can get only if you will fight the Dark Knight. From one side I recommend you to fight him because you can get a great boost, but at the same time it can ruin your strategy. Let me explain to you why. For example, Wizzard will be super good for Dagger skill build, but who uses combo or counter build, then I would not choose it. But what can be worse is Orc or Tamer. For example, you're focusing on rage skills, and with the Orc all your rage skills will become useless, as you will not be able to regain rage. Or let's take the new skill we got with the latest update. It will increase your damage of elemental skills, good if you are focusing on them, but if you are focused on basic attacks, then it will not be the best choice. So if you don't think that such skills can ruin your strategy, then definitely fight the Dark Knight. The last mythic skills will increase your health, defense or attack by 50%. About legendary skills, honestly speaking, there's not much to talk, almost all of them are known. I want to talk only about a few. The first one is Smelly Dagger. I highly recommend you, in most cases I highly recommend you not to choose it, especially if you have rage and healing daggers. Because if your daggers will become smelly, then they will have no effects. Highly recommend you to choose these 3 skills because all of them are stackable. Especially crit proficiency, it will be good for any build. The next skill I highly recommend you to choose, that will definitely help you to pass many chapters, is Frozen Touch. It can help you a lot in situations when you have two mobs. Just give it a try guys and you'll see what I'm talking about. The next skill, Shock Discharge, is one of the best because it can reduce enemies' rage. Want to remind you that to get it you need lightnings, so to have a higher chance to get it will be a good idea to pick up a few lightning skills. Also you can use a brand that gives lightning. This skill will definitely help you in chapters and in other modes like dungeon. Probably not all of you know what Srink does. For early game it's a good skill because it reduces enemies' damage by 35%, but as you know we have damage reduction cap, so for the late game it's not really good skill. Berserker I highly recommend you not to choose because it reduces skill and rage damage, while Spellmaster I highly recommend you because it does vice versa. Tyrant, as you can see, will lower your health by 25 or 40%, which is not good if you have problems with surviving, but it's not like you always should not choose it. For example, I choose it quite often in the clan raids, so choose it I would say situationally. These two skills I highly recommend you to choose in chapters, especially Critical Shield. As for me, there's no sense to evolve Critical Shield while Critical Dodge is better to evolve. Anyway guys, it's more up to you. With the latest update guys, we got more skills related to the spear, so now the spear is not that useless and it's okay to choose it. Okay guys, now let's talk about basic skills. Actually, I had to start with them, but I understand that many of you know what they do, so I decided to talk about them at the end. Basic attack is attack that is done by your weapon. For example, it can be gnome and bow. Basic attack normally is done once per round, but with the combo it can be done twice. And counter attack, I think all of you understand what it does. It counter attack enemies with the main weapon. Base critical damage does double damage of your base attack, but it can be higher depending on your stats and your skills. In the game we have daggers. Normally one dagger deals 45% of your base attack. Besides, dagger skills have different effects like healing, lightning, so daggers are always good to choose, especially in early game. All weapons are dealing rage damage. The damage depends on the quality of your weapon. Interesting fact that if you will not use a weapon, then you will not be able to do rage damage, so always equip one, because we have skills related to rage. Beside daggers and rage skills we have spears. They deal 30% of your base attack. By the way, in the past instead of spears we used to have swords, but we had them in beta version for 2 or 3 months. The next what we have elemental skills like icy spikes, fire and lightning. Besides we have burning and poison that are not counted as skill damage, so Spellmaster will be useless for these two effects. They are stackable, dealing 20% of your base attack, and normally you can have up to 5 stacks. The last skill that is not elemental and kind of useless is Sword Chi. The thing is that we don't have many skills related to it. That's all about the skills guys. If you still have some questions, then be free to ask me in comments, subscribe my channel, and would be great if you will like this video, because it helps me to make better content for you.